Hey guys, this is Watch All About with another watch review, and in this review we are looking at the Audaz Bronzmatic. So this is one of their new releases. Without further ado, let's open it up. So we have this neat little travel case with the Audaz logo on top. If I unzip it, here we have the watch in question. So this is obviously just a watch that's been sent me to review, so no paperwork involved. However, you should, I assume, get some nice little paperwork in here alongside this. So this is pretty neat and pretty handy for your travels, and the watches fit nicely and secure in there. So let me zip that up and get that out of the way. All right, so let's think about the watch itself. So the price of this Bronzmatic is $575, £450. So immediately you might think, oh, okay, yeah, a little bit on the high side. You can use the code WIAA30, as in Watch All About 30, to get 30% off. Immediately, that brings the price down to $402.50, or around £310. So that's obviously a lot better to start with. So we can go through the specs and discuss the watch in closer detail to see if it is worth it. So from like an overall perspective, it is a bronze cased diver. It is 200 meters. It has a Seiko NH35A movement in it. So without further ado, let's talk about the specs and see if it is worth your hard-earned cash. If I just pop it on. So here we have it, 42 mil in diameter. I've got around a 7-inch wrist for reference, a height of 15 mil, and a lug-to-lug length of 51 mil. So it is fairly chunky, fairly large. Obviously it's bronze as well. The weight is 123 grams on this silicone/leather strap. So it is fairly weighty. You certainly do feel it as a watch on. It feels good, it feels high quality, feels well built as well. A little bit tall maybe for some with the 15 mil height. Obviously it's just a Seiko movement in it. So that may be a concern for some. However, I do tend to find wearing it all day it's actually reasonably comfortable. So I haven't found myself trying to take it off. It fits underneath my jumper as well. So I have been able to wear it on a day-to-day basis and not felt the need to take it off. 20 atmospheres or 200 meters water resistance. So it is a proper diver. Obviously, it's a beautiful bronze case as well, CUSN8 grade. So if you do take it diving, it will develop a really, really nice patina over time as well. This one is sort of starting to develop one already, which is pretty neat, and it looks pretty cool. I like a gentle amount of patina like it has at the moment. So it's coming along nicely. This is obviously still relatively new though, so with age you'll get more and more patinaed. So yeah, 200 meters water resistance. It is built to be dived with, so it is good that it has that water resistance basically. 22 mil lug width, so fairly reasonable size for the strap in comparison with the case, and nothing crazy about that. 2-year warranty as well, so that's pretty good. The movement, Seiko NH35A, I've already mentioned that. So the specs for that movement include 21.6 thousand beats per hour, so 6 ticks per second, 24 joules, 41 hour power reserve, hacking seconds, hand and automatic winding capabilities as well. It is just a very well-known, hard-working, reliable movement, so very unlikely that you'll get any issues with that. This one's running in at plus 7.4 seconds a day as well, so pretty close actually. I like to say any mechanical movements ideally should be under 10 seconds a day out, so this obviously comes within that specs. That's good. Other cool things to note, I've already mentioned the fact that it's bronze, but it's a ceramic bezel insert. And finally the strap as well, but I'll go into further detail later. But that's a silicone strap with a leather top, which is quite unusual, quite interesting. So that's all the specs discussed. So let's talk about the watch aspect by aspect then, starting off with the dial. Very straightforward design. It's nice to see a diver which doesn't have those usual submariner kind of hands. And I do like the legibility of it. It's got good Swiss Super Luminova loom as well. I'll show you a loom shot now. So it actually does charge quite well, and it stays bright reasonably well as well. So the legibility of this watch is excellent. So obviously as a diver watch, that's always going to be its primary concern. So it ticks a nice big fat tick on that. The dial itself has a very, very subtle sunburst, sun ray finish to it as well. You can't see it unless you're really up close or at certain angles, but it does provide a very nice, subtle and gentle kind of sunburst feel as you're rotating around, which is a nice little touch. And just the general fit and finish of the dial is really good. Obviously, Audaz print work, Bronzmatic print work at the bottom, very nice and clean and crisp. The hands again, sort of a matching bronze color, and also the hour mark, the applied hour markers, all matching bronze finish to the case as well. So you have that color coming through, and the little applied border around the date, also. So everything's very nice, very clean, very crisp, and just decent, solid, reliable design. Really, nothing too outrageous, nothing too outstanding about it, but it does its job well. Moving on to the case then. So first of all, the sapphire crystal. This is one of the key issues I have with the watch. Really, it is domed. Obviously, it's sapphire crystal, so that's good. But it is single dome, so there's no counter dome underneath to counteract these pretty extreme distortion at angles, as you can see there. Really does start distorting at certain angles. But it is so reflective as well. Unfortunately, it is an absolute pain in the bum to photograph or to video, simply because of how reflective this sapphire crystal is. As you can see there is an anti-reflective coating. You can see that blue shimmery shine, but it's still very reflective. And whilst reading the watch, it doesn't give you much issue in real life, but photography and videography is a bit of a pain in the bum. So that's that. Moving on to the rest of the case. Obviously, I mentioned previously, ceramic bezel insert, very nicely finished as well. It's glossy, it's very shiny in finish as well, so that provides a nice kind of shine to it, to the rest of the top of the case. Let me give you a little whirl of the action as well. Sounds nice. 120 click bezel, pretty good alignment as well. Not much wiggle either, so that's good. Really nice to use, great grip on the side, easy to use, and just the fit and finish of the bezel to match the rest of the case, very good quality. If I just take the watch off, we can have a look at the rest of the case. Pretty standard barrel, nothing too exciting about the shape, quite slender lugs as well, and you can see there it's all pretty much brushed, which is good for longevity. And you can see there the crown is really, really nice and really good to use. So we've got the Audaz logo engraved on the end there. Very good grip as well. It's super duper easy to use. If I just unscrew it, reset the time, push it back a bit. Great thread on this as well. Really easy just to thread it back on and screw it in. And the logo almost lines up. If I tightened it a bit more, it might line up, but I don't want to risk it. But the Audaz logo really deeply engraved and really accurately done so as well, as you can see there. So really nice crown, really good to use. Flipping it over to the case back. Now, this watch, the Bronzmatic, is actually inspired by the ruggedness and functionality of submarines. So that's Audaz's words there. And as you can see, we have a very, very nice submarine on the case back. And this case back is really good. The depth of this deep stamped case back is pretty impressive. As you can see there, the detail on the submarine as well, beautiful. Just other bits of details around the outside as well, very, very good quality. And a lot of people do like to see a decent case back, and this is one of those cases. Moving on to the strap then. So I mentioned previously it's a silicone strap, so if I flip it over, whoop, here we go, silicone back, flip it on the top, we've got a leather top. So literally the leather is stitched on top of a silicone strap, which is quite an unusual thing. I don't see it very often at all, but it actually works really well. It's very comfortable on. It helps that this silicone is very malleable, very supple as well. So obviously this is great for water resistance because it's a silicone strap, and then the leather top provides that sort of slightly smarter kind of look rather than a silicone appearance. So I think they've done a really good job on this strap. It's very comfortable on, as I mentioned, very soft on the underside, so it feels great on, and it works really nicely. Our keeper loops, they're also silicone, and this first keeper loop have little keeper tabs, so that never moves. So that's good and handy. And then moving on to our buckle, you can see there we've got the Audaz logo, lightly engraved, so not as deep as, say for instance, the case back, but it is lightly engraved there. And a nice little sort of pre-V kind of shape, pretty chunky. So if I just pop it on, have a look at the strap. So as you can see there, visually it just looks like a plain old leather strap, but in actual fact it is silicone. So that's a nice touch from them. Very good for diving, as I'm sure you can imagine. All right, let's get the macro lens on and have a look at it in much closer detail. Starting off with the dial then, as you can see here, our print work on the Audaz logo, Bronzmatic below, very nice and finely done. You can see here, as I start introducing some light, you can see our very subtle, very gentle sun ray effect. So that's only at certain light, so it's nice to see it when you do see it. Here's our date window with our nicely executed bronze coloured border, and you can see here our applied hour markers as well, nicely finished, nice and deep as well. If we can look at it much closer, so good stuff on that. And our hands, you can see our bronze coloured finish to them. Plain stick for the second hand, but good design on the hands as well. There's something a little bit different about them, you know, with that arrow, so that's good. So all in all, pretty good finishing all over in terms of the dial, but you can see here, if I push it down here, we get some pretty serious distortion, courtesy of the sapphire crystal. So moving on to the case then, and our bezel insert, our ceramic bezel insert. See our markings all pretty nice and accurate. I do love a good shiny reflective ceramic insert with filled in loomed markings, so that's very nicely done. And then our grip on the bezel itself as well, again decent grip, easy to use. Rest of our finishing is all brushed on the case, nothing too outrageous or exciting about it. And then moving over, here we have our crown. You can see the Audaz logo, how nice and deeply engraved that is. Really good quality crown, lovely to use, great grip on that bad boy as well. Then we flip it over and we have our beautiful case back as well. So nice detailed submarines, you can see there. The depths of this stamping is pretty impressive. Other bits of information around the outside as well. Just really good finishing all over on the case. And finally, looking at the strap, so here's the top grain, the leather top grain, nice subtle like off black grey stitching. So nothing too unusual about the alligator print top. Flipping it over, here's the actual silicone back which touches your wrist, so that's nice and comfortable on as well. And then our keeper loops, so these are silicone, so you can see. And finally our buckle, so that you can see there the Audaz logo ever so slightly, you know, it's not done to an amazing depth, it's probably very lightly engraved or laser etched, which is a shame. That ideally should be quite nice and deeply engraved, but apart from that, pretty good chunky standard buckle. All right. So, is the Audaz Bronzmatic worth your time and money? Well, in terms of the RRP, I think the RRP is a bit high, $575 or £450. Certainly with the Seiko NH35A movement in it. However, with the 30% off voucher, WIAA30, brings it price down to just over $400, slightly over £300, and for that, it's a much better proposition. There's no doubt about it, the build quality is very, very good. From top to bottom, it's pretty much flawless. It's just very chunky and superbly manufactured. There is one key issue that needs to be addressed, and that is the reflective aspect of the crystal. When you're looking at it and when you're wearing it day to day, it's not so much an issue, but it is there. It is obviously more reflective than other options, probably just because of the sheer dome of the sapphire crystal. It's also single domed as well, so that's just something to keep in mind. However, you know, from a watch perspective, it is very, very well built, very well put together, and everything is finished pretty much flawlessly as well. So great build quality, just that one thing to keep in mind. But apart from that, it is a great diver, and I really like the strap. First of all, you know, the silicone back with a leather top, very clever, very comfortable on as well. The bronze case is just beautiful as well. Yes, it's simple, but the case back is wonderful, and the crown is beautiful to use as well. And the ceramic bezel insert, you know, that's nice, nice appearance as well. Finishing of the dial, you know, just from top to bottom, it's a great watch, but be aware of the reflective sapphire crystal. All right, guys, so thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and also comment your thoughts below. And thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.